Welcome to AV in the Wild, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of the pro AV industry, out in the field, on the move, and in the moment.
This episode is brought to you in partnership with Integrated Systems Europe, recorded live at ISE 2026. In this edition, we delve into the connected classroom powered by Logitech, an innovative interactive show floor feature that has gained momentum as EdTech becomes increasingly vital within the sector. We speak with Jeff Boggess, a driving force behind the Connected Classroom project, Jay Lyons from Logitech, and Ian Wright from Connected Classroom sponsor T1V.
Hey everybody, I'm live in the Connected Classroom here at ISE and I've grabbed Jeff Boggess. Jeff, this is your concept, this is your baby. Tell everybody what the Connected Classroom is all about.
Yeah, I think we see so much innovation that happens in the B2B space across the show floor. Jason and I from Kinetic Culture came to ISE and said, hey, what if we took that same type of innovation and showed use cases for the education space? No better partner to do that than Logitech, so they have
I'm biased, of course.
But the amazing product that bleeds over. And so last year was the start of it. Amazing momentum. We came back this year, and what it really is to showcase, how students from K through 12 as well as higher ed work in the classroom, how the innovation is moving to places behind us, podcasts, streaming from home.
Esports is a big thing as well.
Yeah, esports, headsets to microphones, everything matters. And so, but what matters most to us here about the Connected Classroom is everything that you see here in the space gets donated back to the city of Barcelona. So a big social element that ISE is doing to really give back to the city, and the Connected Classroom is connecting all of those pieces to make really good impact. So
I love what Mike Blackman's doing. Again, there's just across ISE that whole thing of like bringing back into the city, thanking them for again their support and putting on this great event for us here. Talk us through the type of people that have been coming here, because again this is a kind of AV and UC show. We had teachers, we had students. Again, is it the integrators that are looking at this tech to supply, and who's been kind of coming to the booth?
I think what's really unique is you nailed a lot of folks that have come through: students, teachers, educators that are already at the show. So really giving them a focus view, getting really granular to education application. But one word you said there were integrators. I think folks who are already at the show and building their different buyers are seeing opportunity to scale their businesses to different verticals, different ICPs. And I think that's what ISE is about, is bringing people together and opening the possibilities, not only for innovation, but how we work and maybe who we sell to.
Now, you've knocked it out the park here today, this area. How are you going to level it up for next year? Are you coming back with this? You got any ideas, any teasers for 2027?
We've only touched the surface on what Connected Classroom is about. But if you think about the way the world is changing, everything is becoming experiential. We saw some folks sit down and, try the headsets on, get behind the camera. I think we have...
You got the Meta headset with the MX Sync over there. That's pretty cool.
What if we had like a live artist? What if we had like, if you ever been to different types of stores, I think Apple does it well. You get in and you're not only touching and feeling the products, you're actually using them. And I think that's what we have an opportunity to do here. The last thing I'll say is we saw over 1,000 educators come through, shuttled in from places across the city. I want to see that number grow. I want more people to come in, get hands-on, not only because of what they see, but the impact that we're making, again, going all back to what we can do with more partners coming in and making an impact for the city of Barcelona.
I think that's a real key point there, because again, I remember when I was back at school, the teachers and the lessons and the classes that you really remember, the ones that brought it to life, made the education, the content and the lessons really sing, and I guess that's what we're doing here. Where do you go next? So again, obviously, there's got to be something in between now and ISE 2027. Where do you go next? What's your next thing for the rest of the year? Yeah,
for the rest of the year is really planning for next year, because I think that's about as big as we want to go. But it's really meeting with folks who have come through, follow up for all the partners that have come and said, what's the Connected Classroom? Again, it's this buzz that's happening on the show floor, and we have a lot of interest. So again, I think it takes time to be very intricate on like how you make this something different, and again, an experience. And we want to partner closely with those folks to come by. So it isn't just another logo in a booth or another piece of product. It's actually showing and enabling, like you said, educators who are going to make a difference in those classrooms.
And where can people find out more about you? And again, you're an amazing content creator, big fan. Where can people hook up with you and obviously find out more about the Connected Classroom?
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn every day. So my full name,
Worse than me.
my full name is Jeffrey Boggess, and there we share a lot about what we're doing here with IAC, as well as other things within the B2B space. I think I'm a plethora of different genres, so would be happy to connect. Yeah, be happy to connect with anyone there and share more information about how you can get involved.
We are at ISC. It's 2026. We're in Barcelona and we're in the amazing studio provided by the Midwich Group, AV on Air, which is stunning. I think I would go so far as to say it's the best studio in the show. There should be a Best Studio in the Show award. What do you think, Neil?
There seems to be more of the studio. Again, Midwich kicked this off several years ago, this idea of a podcast studio on the show floor. Podcast is definitely a growing area, and again, people are trying to get more content out of the show externally for people who can't attend, and to keep the show living on.
Absolutely. And it's not just the Iffat and Neil show. We're really, really lucky to be joined by Jay from Logitech, and we're going to be talking about something that's really exciting and actually heartwarming to me, because some of you may not know that my background is teaching, and education is still really important to me. Jay, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you? And for those listening, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So my name is Jay Lyons. I am the product and portfolio manager for Logitech, specifically for education on our verticals team. So, yeah.
And we've got this is the first year we're doing the Connected Classroom. Again, you think of ISC, you think, big projection screens, automation stuff, but we've actually got a connected classroom here on the show floor, which is new. I think that ISC have put in. So education becoming more of a piece to this, AV world that we live in. Taking it more verticalized, I guess, in that area.
So for people who don't know what the Connected Classroom is, can you give us... It doesn't have to be the elevator pitch. It could be a bit longer.
Yeah, actually, this is something that ISC put on, and I think, I'm not sure if last year was the first year. I think it was.
Okay.
But we did it last year as well. So ISC put this on, the Connected Classroom concept, and it's a partnership with Kinetic Culture. So they reached out, and we were happy to be a sponsor, and very fortunate and thankful to be a sponsor. And so we did it again this year. We loved it last year. And then this year was like as far as from last year to this year, so much has changed. So a little bit of background on it. It's essentially bringing, and it could be any sponsors that want to be a part of it. So it's showcasing products specific for education, and this could be K through 12, higher ed, a combination of both. And so Logitech's approach is we wanted to showcase a lot of our products that we have and that we've designed specifically for education, and how they can all come together to create this very simplified environment for classrooms. So yeah, that's basically the background of it.
And what can people see from a Logi perspective? So which components are...
Sure. Oh, yeah. And one other thing I did want to say about the Connected Classroom, one of the other things that ISE has part of it, and it's amazing, is at the end of the show, all the products in the booth from all sponsors get donated to the city of Barcelona.
Amazing.
So these are all going to find their way into various classrooms.
That giving back, that's been a theme for a few of our episodes, hasn't it? And
Yeah.
we seem to be, coming across that theme again and again, and it's this year's theme for ISE is Push Beyond. Here you go, ISE. How about giving back as a theme as well? Because it's happening, right?
Yeah, again, so a lot of customers, vendors are looking at circularity of products, that sustainability piece, and again, rather than all this stuff getting thrown in a skip or burned at the end of the show, let's give it a second life and let it go out there and add value to the community, to educate, or to other areas where it can benefit people.
So what is the Logitech message when it comes to education and that space? Because it is a very different approach to corporate, but there's bound to be some crossover, I guess.
Sure. And I think actually that's a good point. I think Logitech took a hard look quite a while ago and saw that there was a lot of products being sold into education. And one of the big ones was products being sold into K through 12. And,
Right.
These are products that Logitech takes design very seriously. And so when we design a product, it's very much for, a general, like a use case, a specific use case and a specific user. So having products that were designed for, the B2B space or, consumers for business and any of that kind of stuff, being used for students that are 9, 10, 11 years old, like a headset, for example. That's not going to fit the same. That's not going to last the same. Kids are amazing, but also very destructive. So you need to design your products specifically
Not
for
just
them.
kids.
Yeah, we can learn a lot from the business world.
Yeah, but that was our message, is that, okay, if our products are going to be sold in this vertical, we need to make sure that we're designing them for this vertical. So that's, I think, our biggest message, is to showcase that we're making products now specifically for, whether it's K through 12 or higher ed. We want these to work. And so I think a good example of that is, in a K-12 space, is the Zone Learn headset.
Right.
We saw a lot of the, certain headsets being sold in education that, again, were designed for adults. And usually headsets across the board are tuned for like bass, media, that kind of stuff. They're not tuned for speech intelligibility, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a headset that was designed specifically for kids, with kids. So my daughter was the main prototype around this as we were making it.
Did she get a credit on the box?
I don't know that she ever
Was
had.
the product named after her? Let's give her a shout out.
I tried. Her name is Zoe. It is Zone Learn, so it's close. But yeah, so
Tell her that.
Well done, Zoe.
yeah, she was 6 at the time, and so she had a lot of 3D prints sitting on her head for a while. But yeah, so we started there, and then of course we expand out, and we get a lot of we have a lot of different groups that we can leverage and utilize, and a lot of partnerships that we've had established with schools. So we were able to use our little early on prototypes with a lot of different age groups, different hairstyles, things that
Right.
people with glasses, people with earrings. You wanted to make sure that this could fit and also last in that kind of environment. So it was really important to us to get a very comfortable headset, and again, that was designed for apps that are going to be
And lightweight, I guess,
yes,
as well.
very lightweight.
Yeah.
Have a lot of cushion. So we actually have done some case studies that were amazing. We did one case study with Epic, and I want to say they used an existing headset that they had for 2 weeks. Then they switched to Zone Learn for 2 weeks. And I think the kids, they preferred Zone Learn. It was like 97% they preferred Zone Learn. And then the biggest one was, I want to say it was, they were able to complete 47% more books within the Epic platform when using Zone Learn. And that's huge. It was because they could hear it more clearly. And again, when it's like English as a second language, for example, they were able to be heard by the teachers. We heard a lot where teachers would have to sit with the students as they were speaking back and listen, because the microphones of other headsets weren't picking it up properly. And that all went into our design, all went into our research. We focused on how that alignment works. Like those boom microphones, kids move them around. They, at a younger age, they don't know that it needs to be perfectly aligned. So we wanted to make sure that it would align for them and they don't have to worry about it. So yeah, that was one of those things. And that's what's been important for me, and the ability to show it here at ISE in that connected classroom. We get to show these products that, a lot of people may not know Logitech makes. They always think, oh, Logitech, keyboard, mice, but we make so much more.
I guess one of the other big areas, you talked about headsets, but the big change that since I was at school many years ago, it was all papers, books, textbooks, and all the rest of it. Now everything's gone digital. And I know a lot of schools, certainly certainly the Far East is a great example in Japan, I think, where they're all being equipped with tablets.
Yeah.
So rather than again it being textbooks, papers, we used to have to get wrapping paper and wrap round our exercise books to make them last. I don't know if you did that, but in the UK we always used to wrap our books. But
Same.
iPads now are the big things. Again, I know Japan had this massive deal with regards to everybody was going to be equipped with tablets. Again, what are we seeing with regards to Chromebooks are really big in education in the UK, and Google are doing a lot in that. Apple obviously are doing a lot around schools. What are you seeing around that kind of change and drive towards more of a digital student versus, again, moving away from handwriting and written and things like that?
Well, I think it's the medium, right? I mean, I myself saw it in action for the first time, and I always heard that growing up as well, because again, in my generation, it was computers were starting to be a thing, and I can remember my parents making jokes how they couldn't work the remote or work the computer, and so they had to ask their kids. And today it's the same thing. You give even a 3 or 4 year old a tablet, and they can instantly adapt to it. They can instantly figure it out. So I think there's a couple of things that you're seeing in this paradigm shift, away from textbooks and things like that. Is again, it gets their attention. It's really difficult to maintain attention inside of a book and text, and even when you got pictures and things like that. But when you've got a tablet, it's something that they just relate to instantly. They get it. It's something that they gravitate toward. And same thing now, the next thing is, having that immersive experience. You've got VR and all that. Having a writing exercise. We did the MX Ink, for example, for the same thing. You have this writing exercise, and if you're practicing pen to paper or pencil to paper, it's hard to get students to stay focused on that. But you put them in a VR headset and you give them an MX Ink, for example, and they'll write and draw all day, and they're going to have fun doing it. So, but again, the test comes back to pencil and paper. So when they go to do the tests, and they're using a different type of controller to learn how to write, that doesn't translate. So having something like a stylus, that's going to transition to pad and paper, like doing the pencil and paper, then it makes sense, so they can learn it in the immersive experience, then they can actually practice it in real life, and it's something that's more comfortable to them, and they get it. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think the change is really that, this is the medium that they have adapted to. That generation is just like, if you give me a tablet, I'm good to go. You give me a textbook, and I'm probably gonna, space off.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask that, because when I taught, am I going to show my age? But when I was teaching, I mean, one of the things that was really clear, especially with the youngest children, the inner ear doesn't develop for many years. So actually, what you perceive to be, well, they're not listening, they can't hear you. So even understanding that, and the way classrooms have improved in terms of support for the teacher.
Yeah.
I used to lose my voice so our school year started in September. More or less in the same week in November, I would have no voice.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly having to shout and stretch, and your voice is not, we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So all of this tech that is available now, I'm a little bit jealous, but it also, tell me a bit about the assistive side of it. So, kids who do need a bit more help, who, so you might not, can customers actually put together, or are Logi interested in that market, the assistive learning market?
Absolutely.
And what's happening with that?
Well, I can never talk about products that we're currently making,
No.
obviously. But
You
I
can
can
talk
tell
about the
you,
concept.
Yeah, I can tell you, we're taking a look at that, and we've been doing a lot of research in that area for quite some time. And it is something that we very much take to heart and we're passionate about. So it's something we want to get right. So we have been looking at a lot of those things, and I can't say that we've done anything or that we've had launched anything yet. But we've been working on a few things in that market that we want to really, hopefully assist and make that easier. And I agree, like areas like that from a teacher perspective, being able to help them it's not just about the students. We want to make sure the teachers also are getting some type of assistance to help simplify their day to day.
Yeah.
Because again, if they're struggling to get this technology to work for them, then that means students aren't getting a chance to learn. So
Exactly.
every minute that we take away from that is, ends
Yeah.
up impacting the kids much more than you would imagine. So we did the same thing. I could talk about, we launched Logitech Reach a while ago. So, we can all remember document cameras, and we all remember
Yeah.
overhead projectors. I will definitely tell you all my age. I had to remember the overhead projector, and man, if you had to have that seat right behind it, it was basically like you're sitting in a microwave.
It was just going to burn that image. Yeah.
But just how document cameras replaced overhead projectors because they could do so much more. We see that happening today. Document cameras are no longer able to do what they used to do because, again, most of the documents have become digitized.
Yep.
So there's less of a need and less of a use case for them. But there are new things coming out, and there are new things that you need to bring into. So science is a big one that's been around forever. Obviously, it's not new, but we've all had to gather around the table to see the science experiment, and you've got the 3 kids that are getting the upfront view and they're paying
Yeah.
attention, and then the rest are off goofing around.
Switched off. Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to maybe design a new product that could help in that area. So we wanted to help teachers bring in new subjects and be able to give everybody a front row seat. So that's what Reach is. It's a very simple concept. There's no buttons to press, there's no digital zoom, and there's no moving your content in front of the camera. Now you can move your content around your camera around the content, and you can bring in 3D objects and really explore them. So now 3D printing is a big thing. So
Yes.
this camera can move around freely in space, and when you let go, it stays there, unlike those flexible arms that kind of recoil back into a new position. Now you can really truly move this camera around in space, and you can explore plants, and you can ask, now you have this AI assisted thing like AI Studio or, Gemini Live, things like that. You can actually use Reach in with this, and you can ask it questions and say, where did this plant come from? Where did this rock come from? Where on this globe can you tell me? And it'll interact and explain these things. So now it's more than a teacher device; it's a student device too. And one of the newest things in learning this is, again, unfortunately, with my own daughter, I gave her Reach and AI Studio, and I said, you know what, ask it some questions, and she was having fun. And I noticed something in class: she refuses to ask questions when she doesn't understand math concepts.
Okay.
And at home, she also is reserved. When I ask her, I can tell that she didn't understand why she needed to do this math problem this way.
Right.
And so I ask her, and she just kind of looks at me, and I think she's scared that I'm going to judge her, right? Or that her colleagues are going to judge her in class. I give her Reach, and she asks AI, and she can ask it whatever she wants. There's no more anxiety or pressure or stress. Like, she can ask it whatever she wants, and she did. And she, dug into it a little bit. I was shocked. Later, she started kind of cheating with it, so I had to stop it. But I mean,
kids
they're
will always find the route.
It's the shortcut.
Always, absolutely.
But it was interesting to see that. So I think we're going to see a lot more stuff like that, and I think it goes back to that point where you're getting things that can assist in so many different ways to people's needs, right? If they're anxious and they're nervous to do these things, well, AI kind of releases some of that anxiety. It kind of allows them to have a space where they can do that. So you give them an opportunity with a camera and some AI help and a headset, and they'll ask it whatever they want, and they don't have to be so scared about it.
That's amazing. Slightly different question. Tell me, and I know from speaking to Neil that this is a big thing for Logitech. Tell the listeners a bit about what you're doing in terms of sustainability and that commitment to the footprint we're all leaving on the planet.
Oh yeah, that's huge for Logitech. In fact, we have a lot of internal training on this to try to make sure that we're always working towards our sustainable goals. And yeah, from a carbon footprint is one of our biggest ones.
That wasn't to test your training, by the way.
No problem, not a problem. But yeah, I am actually nervous because we do take it very seriously, and I don't want to say anything wrong, but yeah, it's important to all of us. It's not something that we're having to train. It's not an obligation. Like, we all do it. It's there for us to learn.
Yeah.
So we get a lot of this information to help us, and we get a lot of courses that we can take to help us understand it better, and the importance of it. But it is extremely important for us. So I can tell you, as a product manager, when we start that product development, that starts in the beginning. We want to make sure that we're using, reusable plastics. We want to make sure that our percentages of that are, really good, so that we're not wasting anything. And and we're very serious about the carbon label and all that. It's massive for us. I mean, we want to make sure that if we're putting these products out in the world, and just like I talked about with Zone Learn, the headset, another key part to that was not only using sustainable materials, but we also wanted to create a headset that could last over time. So we saw that these disposable headsets that were fitting the budgets of what schools thought they needed to do, they're just being thrown away. Usually they're throwing away 2 to 3 times a year.
Wow.
And we wanted to make sure that wasn't the case. So we found that the most important, or most commonly broken components, obviously we wanted to make them as robust as possible, but again, I think it's impossible to make something robust enough to sustain a kid. I mean, kids can find a way to break anything, but we did the best we can to make it as robust as possible. And then we made sure that these main components, like the cables, for example, we wanted to make sure that they were replaceable, so that when a cable broke, they could just replace the cable, not the headset.
Yeah.
If the ear pads were getting picked apart and destroyed, they could replace those and not the headset.
Yeah.
So we've made this to be very replaceable for people, so schools can actually continue to maintain that same product. And then as we looked at that, we said, all right, we also saw this shift at the same time we were developing, where Chromebooks and iPad 9th gens were still using the aux 3.5 millimeter connection, right? Then all of a sudden it's USB-C. So schools were having to throw out all these aux headsets and buy USB-C, and they were kind of transitioning over time. So again, not only are the cables replaceable, they're swappable.
Yes.
So we made sure that you could swap from an aux to a USB-C. So again, you don't have to replace your headset. Just replace the cable, and you don't even have to throw that cable away. You could still reuse that for other products.
Absolutely brilliant. And such a simple solution as well, right?
Yeah.
I understand you've got some solar powered kit as
Yeah,
well.
we got a new keyboard that we launched. Yeah,
How does that work?
Well,
We get no sun in the UK. We're all vitamin D deficient. So what can we do?
That one is part of a different group. So I
can
do
say
not.
that.
Yeah,
Do you want me to say that?
Yes,
there we
yeah.
go. Signature Solar
Yeah.
keyboard. One of the big challenges around keyboards, wireless anyways, they use alkaline batteries. So
Yes.
every 2 or 3 months you're putting in AA, AAA batteries in there. So we've got a solar cell in there, which allows it to sustain for up to 3 months, and it works not only on actual sunlight, but it will work on incandescent lighting and lighting in the room. So
Amazing.
completely powered from that. We had an old one called the K750, which had massive, great big solar, like a big calculator. It's almost hidden away now. A lot of people think it's a pen holder, but it actually is a solar cell. You can put it away in a cupboard for up to 3 months, pull it out, and it still has enough charge. It's got like a capacitor
It holds
inside
it. That's brilliant.
It holds it, and again, no alkaline batteries in there, fully wireless, and it's a great piece from our sustainable. And it's built from over 50% post-consumer recycled plastics.
Yep.
And again, just leading on for the sustainability, all of the lithium batteries we use 100% recycled cobalt now in our batteries. So again, as you say, it's part of our DNA, that whole sustainability piece. We'd love to bring a solar mouse, but unfortunately you kind of cover it with your hands. So you'd have to have like some sort of like hat that goes on top. But again, trying to remove that one piece around alkaline batteries was just the Signature Solar really kind of drives that forward from a sustainability point of view. So it's a
excellent.
great piece of the
Well,
portfolio.
huge congratulations on Connected Classroom. It's heartwarming to hear that kit is going to be going out and being used locally here in Barcelona. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up? And also, where can people connect with you?
After the show, where can they go?
Go to our website, go anywhere. I mean, as far as other shows, we're definitely going to be doing more shows. We have educational shows happening in the United States here coming up pretty soon. So we'll be there and present as usual and showcasing our products specifically for education. Beyond that, if you're here at ISC and you get a chance to come by, come take a look. I didn't get to talk about all of our products, but we're showcasing our Mevo wireless cameras.
Big
and we're
fan of
showing
Mevo,
it. They're fun, and we're seeing a lot of use cases in education.
Amazing.
You got sports where they're able to stream these live. You've got just like morning news segments. We've seen a school district actually bring these on, and they've got the 3-camera kit, and students are able to create their own podcasting and actually do little news segments. And since they're all wireless and
Esports
portable,
is becoming a big thing.
huge,
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of that, and it's been hugely popular in the Connected Classroom. I was not expecting that, honestly. I was expecting
Really?
more on our, we have the Rally Camera Streamline Kit and the new Rally AI Camera Pro, which, the Pro has the tracking capabilities and the preset buttons to just simplify that whole solution. So now, hey, teachers don't have to worry about anything. If they're walking around a classroom, they see a button, they press it, they know the camera's going to be on them. And when that's not the case, with the Rally AI Camera Pro coming down the line, they're going to get tracked. So I thought it was going to be more of that, but shockingly, Mevo has been a huge, huge thing. So
Yeah, fantastic. And so I guess Logitech.com?
yes, Logitech.com. Thank you. Sorry.
All good. I'd love to, again, talk more about this. Again, go to the website. We'll get you back on. Again, it's a great topic to talk about. Again, we're bringing, these are the next generation we're bringing into this industry and educating them, bringing them forward in the world. Again, the digital learning and the connected classroom is a huge topic as we bring new talent into this industry. So, Jay, thank you for the work you do.
My name is Sam. I'm live at ISE 2026, and I'm here in the Connected Classroom with Ian from T1V, and we're going to talk about what's going on in education, what's happening on the Connected Classroom, and the biggest trends impacting how we learn and how we deliver education. Ian, thank you for joining me. Tell me a little bit about yourself and a bit about T1V.
Thank you. Nice to be here. My name is Ian Wright. I'm VP of Sales for T1V. And we are a software company that provides interactive collaboration software that's used in classrooms and in enterprise across the world.
And how did you come to be part of this wonderful feature on the show floor, the Connected Classroom?
Yeah, so lucky opportunity. We're super excited about being a partner with Logitech and ISC at this show. Just through partnerships, we were able to make the connection and be a part of this. And so, again, super excited to do that.
Great, and I'd imagine that being connected with other technology brands in this space is super important for creating the Connected Classroom as well, and making sure that those systems are integrating perfectly to deliver the solutions that you need to. What big trends do you feel are happening in the connected classroom space at the moment?
Yeah, so I think that the trend is getting people back on campus versus the hybrid. It's still part of it, but we're hearing a lot of schools looking for technologies that will engage students better, to bring them back and make them want to be in the classroom versus just watching a PowerPoint or sitting through a lecture and not actually, engaging with what they're doing.
Yeah, and you've probably had quite a lot of visitors coming over. I mean, it's a wonderful feature and it's great to see so many technologies and so much interactivity on this booth. What have you found, visitors that are coming onto the booth, what have they been asking you about? What's happening in the connected classroom? What are their biggest concerns, or what do they see as the biggest opportunities when it comes to the connected classroom?
I think making sure that all the technology integrates the best way. And so I think that's where partnerships like what we have with Logitech and others, to where we can seamlessly integrate the hardware with the software. And I think one of the other things is that we look to provide solutions versus just throwing a bunch of hardware in a room. Our goal is to make this software easy to use so professors and students enjoy using the tools, and it's simple.
Great, and we've got this wonderful board behind us. So, it looks a lot of fun. We've been throwing different things onto the screen and making them bigger and smaller and be really interactive. Tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here on the screen. I will give you the mic for this one because it might be a bit easier.
Thank you. Yeah, so this is our ThinkHub canvas. So you have 20 times the real estate to manipulate content of any kind. That can be browsers like this is. It's just a browser. I can change this, I can annotate on it, draw on it. I can bring in content from thumb drives or from network drives. I can bring in HDMI sources. So there's nothing connected into this, but that's just an HDMI source. So it could be student computers all around a classroom. We can do anywhere from 0 to 40 simultaneous HDMI feeds on Canvas. And right now you're seeing this on a 65-inch AVACore. It could be on any size, any aspect ratio, any resolution display. So it could be a 32 by 9 interactive LED wall, and then you would have all of this virtual real estate to manipulate content and engage with your audience.
And from a student perspective, they can come in, create, ideate together, interact with the board. It's probably very good for building confidence as well and presentation skills. And once they finish that session, does that disappear forever or can they come back to it?
Good question. So they can come back to it. We can go in and we can save it as a canvas. We can give it a passcode that can be saved to the network infrastructure so that you can bring it up in any classroom you go to with a ThinkHub. And so yes, it's persistent. So it's always going to stay there and the students can just continue to build on their projects.
Fantastic. And are you at T1V in markets all around the world? Is this a popular technology? Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the different markets that you're in and the different technologies that you're seeing being used in the connected classroom.
Yeah, we're in anywhere that you see active learning is a great space for our software, bringing people together. We're also in, like schools of engineering, schools of business, schools of medicine, where you're trying to get students learning together as groups versus just individual work. And then we're in enterprise and all kinds of places all around the world.
Super. And it's all about that kind of collective, connected experience and getting people to learn together, like you say. And this is what's so wonderful about a feature such as Connected Classroom, where you can see all of the technologies, how they work together, all in one place, and what the future can look like for education providers and students alike. So before we wrap up, final question for you. What do you think will be the biggest influence from a technology perspective on the connected classroom in the next 5 years?
Well, I think that, schools trying to bring students back on campus is a big one. So I think the technology is going to have to continue to evolve, which, because we're software-based, we can do that. But then I think AI is going to start driving a lot of interactivity as well. We're starting to develop AI tools and engines to ingest into ThinkHub. And we're hearing a lot about that integration where trying to get students to utilize it versus trying to get them not to. I think it's going to be a big key.
Well, AI is everywhere, and it's a mega trend here at ISE. So thank you for bringing that into the conversation there as well. Thank you very much for joining us today. If people want to find out a little bit more about T1V, where should they go?
Sure. Our website is t1v.com, and we've got all kinds of information and happy to help and answer any questions.
That's a wrap on this episode of AV in the Wild. Big thanks to our guests and to you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey through the AV landscape. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, share, leave a review. It helps us keep the conversation going. Catch us next time as we hit the road again with more voices, more stories, and more of what makes AV wild. Until then, stay curious, stay connected, and stay wild.